What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Philip back with Thrifty PS Gamer Reviews. So today we're going to be discussing Hogwarts Legacy. If you could, hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, have a lot of new faces in here, leave a comment, let me know if you've played Hogwarts, what you think of Hogwarts. If you think something I covered in this video is just way off base, let's talk about it. So I like to rate my games based off of graphics, gameplay, combat, sound, story, and then a sixth one, which is acting and voice work if it has it. So let's get into graphics. Let's just dive right on in. The graphics on this thing are good in most modes. And let me say I'm gonna be a little nitpicky here because this game was in development for quite a while. It was worked on heavily. You can tell they put a lot of thought and care into the world building, into textures, into layouts, level designs, things of that nature. They also pushed a ray tracing mode in here. I'm sorry, a 60 frames per second mode in here, and a fidelity with ray tracing mode. Also, they have two balanced modes where you can do an unlocked frame rate, which is a high frame rate at 1080p. I will not touch that. I love my resolution too much. I will be honest, when I first started playing this game, I was playing it in performance, and then the performance mode isn't locked. It does dip. It dips anywhere between 60 frames per second and about 52, 54. Now, they fixed that a bit, but it still dips down to about 57. And I do not care if a game has 60 frames per second as long as it's smooth. That's what matters to me, is it being smooth. And generally speaking, 60 frames per second is a whole lot smoother than 30. But if it's choppy, you feel like you're playing Elden Ring, and I hate that. So I went over to fidelity with ray tracing, and that's a locked 30 on the PS5, and it's awesome. Then I just got a new TV that does 120 VRR, and I now play on balanced. And I will say this, balanced is the perfect mode to play this game. You get great lighting, great shadows, you get great frame pacing, good frame rate stability, you get all of it. And it looks gorgeous. The level of detail they put into this game and these different textures around Hogwarts, especially the School of Hogwarts. Oh my goodness. The thing is perfect. I literally have only seen 4 of the movies, and I've seen another one partially. And the recreation of what Hogwarts looks like in the movies versus what it looks like in the game is spot on. So that's my graphics spiel. Graphics are great. There's a couple hiccups in ray tracing, and there is a couple hiccups in performance. The ray tracing one is it doesn't quite know what to do with certain shadows or certain lighting situations, mainly in voice conversations. So you have like this light flicker that will happen, and it'll make one side super bright, one side super dark of the conversation, and it just doesn't. It feels weird the way they do that. And there's also a couple spaces where if you go off screen just a bit, that the entirety of the section that was just well lit and perfect, getting ambient light in the atrium, that light goes dark. And so I don't know what that's for, but it's super noticeable. And so that's one of the issues with ray tracing. I've already talked about the frames per second one in performance. Balanced, if you can, is the way to play it. Let's get into combat next. Combat, we all heard wands and wizards and we're like, dadgummit, we've seen this before. This is going to suck. It is really, really well done. It is fast. It is fluid. It is quick. It is responsive. The whole freaking thing works. So when I say that the combat is very, very good, I'm not kidding. The spells look great. The animations of the spells, this is kind of bleeding over from graphics, but the animations of the spells are fabulous. They are so well done. I cannot express to you how wonderful everything looks in combat. There's so many things you can do, from control to AoE to uh, cursing an enemy to where they fight for you, cursing an enemy now to where they get more damage. There's skills that you can upgrade that allow a lot of your control spells to affect more than one target. There's protecting, there's protego, and there's stupefy, which stuns an enemy after a protego sphere gets put up. Like, there's so much stuff to do, and it's so well done and well implemented. I don't know how I would improve on the combat system except give a controller more buttons so I didn't have to switch between spell pages. But even that's seamless now. You have ancient magic that you get to use. You could throw objects in the world at enemies. It's so flippin' perfect. I have enjoyed the combat almost more than anything else in this entire game. Uh, and part of that is also going to bleed into the next section, which is sound. The sound is fitting for every single occasion. I really love that when you're on a broom, I don't know if anybody else has experienced this, but when you're on a broom and in your races, it sounds very much like a Star Trek like theme from like pod racing or something. Like, it just sounds so much like Star Wars. And that's great because you want this to feel like an epic moment, and Star Wars has some of the most epic sounds and music ever. But that's not where it stops, because when you go into Hogsmeade, it's a bustling town. It's shops galore, places to go visit, things to go do, stuff to have fun with. You can go to a bar. You can do all this stuff in there, and the music is whimsical. It's very up tempo and very kind of magical. Not to play on the Hogwarts theme, but it really does give that magical, whimsical feel to it, while also feeling like you're almost at like a bazaar. And so, like, it's so good. And then inside Hogwarts, you have this kind of mysterious music where you it kind of lends you to, like, oh, there's stuff around every corner here. There's stuff to accomplish. There's mysteries and things to solve. And so it's so well done and fitting for every occasion. And there are some times where, like, you don't even realize the music is playing just because it blends so well into the atmosphere that uh, a couple parts in when I was trying to pick up different sound bites and stuff, just to kind of grade the sound, I was like, man, is there sound playing in the Forbidden Forest? Oh, there is. It's just real ominous and really, really in the background. Oh my gosh, it's perfect. So that's my sound. Next, closely related to sound, let's get into the voice acting. Voice acting is really well done for every character that's not the main character. The main character feels a little stiff. He just feels a little stuck to himself. He can't move very well in conversation. And uh, but outside of that, and I mean, it's not game breaking. It's just, I'm being critical right now because I don't want to sound like I'm just shilling for this game. Oh, it's a perfect 10 out of 10, because it's not. It has a couple minor flaws, but everything else is voice acted super well. Especially Lodgok and Sebastian, Poppy. A lot of these characters are voiced so well. It's crazy. It's insane. I'm super impressed with all the voice work that went into this. And the like I said, the main character just feels stiff. Now, I haven't played with the female, but I'm talking about the male. He feels kind of stiff when it comes to pause. When it comes to his voice work. So that's my thoughts on voices and acting. I think everybody did a great job. I think my favorite characters, I've already mentioned them. But before I keep going, let's get into the story. I don't give a lot of story because I don't like to give a lot of spoilers. And I don't know what certain people consider spoilers, but here's the story. You're a fifth year Hogwarts student. You get your letter of acceptance. Professor Fig comes to pick you up on the way to Hogwarts. He tells you about a package from his wife. that is, oh, somebody comes actually in, tells to the carriage that's flying, and tells you about a package from your from Professor Fig's wife. Goes over it. It's from a goblin. She was working closely with the goblins, trying to figure out something about ancient magic. And then you get attacked by dragons. As you get attacked by dragons, you crash. Once you crash, you go through a cave. You explore a bit. It's really the game showing off how gorgeous the scenery looks. Like, I think they set this up just so you can stand on the ledge and look out and see the tower in the distance. And my goodness, it's fantastic. But as you're trying to explore, you figure out that you have a connection with this ancient magic. That's one of the reasons you've been called to Hogwarts. That's one of the reasons you've been put on this, uh, put in this school. And then you get to the school. Professor Black comes in, pulls Professor Fig away. You start doing your classes and stuff, and you're kind of off to the races from there. So you're trying to figure out what's the deal with the goblins. You're trying to figure out what's the deal with your ancient magic, and all of these things are going to play into the quest lines, and all of them get explained. And there's certain things you find out within even like 15 minutes, 20, 30 minutes after the sorting hat, where it's like, hey, we're doing this now. Like, you're going to class, you're figuring out spells, you're doing all of this type of stuff, you're doing side missions and side quests, and everything bleeds into each other, and I love that. Shout out to Grindhouse Gaming, or Gaming Grindhouse. Jez over there, he is on a podcast that I'm a member on the panel on. He's been a long time member there. And on this podcast, he was talking about the game, and he compared it a lot to Witcher 3. And, like, I see it now. It's the side quest. It's the interwovenness of everything that you do. And I absolutely love that, because that's the thing that I felt like they got so right in The Witcher. So I don't give a lot of story. The story is really, really good. There are a few fetch quests, but it's an RPG. They do not outstay their welcome, in my opinion. And I think that you're going to get your money's worth with all the different quests and everything that you can do. Let's get into gameplay. So gameplay, there is a loot system in this. They could monetize this game in a heartbeat, and I'm so glad they didn't, because there is a loot system. There's a transmog system. There is a level up system that's actually pretty good. There's some consequences to the level up system, because you only get 40 or 35 levels, I think, that you can put in, because it starts at level 5 and you can go to max 40. So, yeah, 35 levels. And there are more slots to upgrade than upgrade points that you're going to get. So, you're going to have this kind of dichotomy of, man, do I do this or do I do this? Do I do this or do I do this? And it doesn't really, it's not present very much when you first start getting your skill points, but it is super present later on in the game. I'm level 32, and I'm like counting down now. Okay, I have 7 left. How do I do this? I have 6 left. How do I do this? Because I really want to make sure that I'm getting the most bang for my buck, because there is no way to reset them. Um, the gameplay loop is essentially get quest, complete quest, explore caves, caverns, do Merlin trials, which are little puzzles in game, which are super fun. There's about 7 or 8 different styles of puzzle, so those kind of stay fresh. One of the side quests I absolutely hate is collecting all the demigods to get your lockpicking skill up. It's Alohomora, and that one kind of sucks, because the mini game on it is super annoying. It should have had something where, like, if you complete 10 lock picks at level 1, you can do all level 1s perfect. Or, I was talking to a buddy of mine, and he mentioned doing it like Skyrim, where you could just do brute force based on your level. So, like, if you have level 3 Alohomora, then you can do all level 2 and level 1 locks instantaneously. And I think that's a genius idea, and I hope they add that in a patch or an update or something, because that is brutal after the 30th time that you do it. So, like I said, I'm not shilling completely for the game. I think it's a wonderful game. There are a few things that I would change, and that's kind of what I like to do. So, let's talk about it. The thing that I love is the graphic quality, the attention to detail, and the story quest and side quests. Those are phenomenal. The thing that I would change is um, some of the little side mini game things are kind of annoying. They're not all going to be bangers like flying in your races, because I think that's a highlight of the game, but they shouldn't feel like a slog after 20, 30 times of doing it. Uh, they should be able to fix and add a quality of life improvement there. The thing that I hate is that in ray tracing mode, the lighting is a little off in certain spots. It'll flash away and come back. So let's give my overall verdict of the game. I think this game is well worth the price of admission. I'm at 50 hours in right now, and I'm at 74% complete, I believe. And that is taking me a long time to get there. 50 hours for 70% of the game. And that's just story quest, main quest, side quest. That's not how far I am overall. I think overall I'm about 60 or 50. So the game has a ton to offer. Check it out. Let me know if you've already played it. I know it's already reached like 10 million sales or something like that, 12 million. So obviously a lot of people have already played it. We know that most of them played it on PS5, which is where I'm playing it. And so let me know. Let me know what you think. Where are you playing it? Once again, like, subscribe, share this video. Thanks for staying to the end. This is Philip with Thrifty PS Gamer Reviews. As always, stay thrifty.